What's up, everyone? It's Gavin or Tweek.
What's good? What's good? What's good? It's Marcus or Pink.
What's up? It's Haz or Matt.
Whoa! It's fucking Coney! What's good, everybody? Welcome to Tweek Talks. I'm back. It's been a goddamn year, and I'm here now. You guys need to get your energy up. It's Tweek Talks with Coney. Let's go!
So, how long were you preparing that? Like, how long was that just in your head?
Quiet
say,
start.
yeah.
We gotta get to. Come on, Ultimate is really exciting right now. So many to talk about.
You were the last guy always picks it up, so you did it correctly. It was you this week, so that's great.
Let's
What
go.
is this
All
voice?
right.
That's not his
Let's go.
voice.
No, that's me.
That's the rest
Sound
of
like
the rest
now.
of
Come on.
That's not what he sounds like.
Yeah, so we have a very special guest this week. It's Coney. What up, Coney?
Hi, everybody. Happy Tuesday when we're recording this. I didn't get to go to Gombo or the Luminosity event, and I haven't seen, or MomoCon. I haven't seen you guys in mad long, but we got SmashCon or Supernova coming up. I can't wait to see you guys again. It's going to be fun.
Oh yeah, that'll be when I see everyone too. I mean, I don't
It's
remember
gonna be
that.
everyone.
Huh?
Maybe.
Let's
Ever.
go.
You guys will be there. I would like to talk to you guys after the call if you guys are down, because I forgot I'm cooking something up and I would like your input.
Oh.
I have an idea.
It'll be on the Patreon episode, actually. You can weigh in on
No,
Coney's
don't do that.
content.
No. It's a secret. No.
We will have Patreon content this week. Check it out. Charles isn't here. Charles is busy this week. He's doing a lot, actually. So Charles is super busy, so send him your love. And make sure you sub to the Patreon and check out our bonus content this week. Since Charles isn't here, we don't have a content idea ready for you. Usually I just throw him under the bus and I say, Charles, what are we doing this week? And you can see him if you watch. He just he'll roll his eyes and think about it. He's like, shit, this guy's throwing me under the bus. But we don't have one this week, but I'm sure it'll be exciting because we have Coney with us. So we'll see what happens. Not agree to that, but apparently it's happening.
Sure.
How's MultiVersus been for y'all? I think all of y'all have been playing it, so I want to hear it from everyone.
Let's
Marcus
go
is
down the
playing right
line.
now.
Marcus, you first.
No, I was playing as the countdown was happening, but I won it done, and then that person sent me a referral request. So I'm
Again, he's sending you an invite.
My bad. Yeah, it's an experience. I didn't really play during the beta. I played for maybe 2 days, and I was like, this is stupid. Everybody's just dodging around. I hate this. And now I'm playing it, and I'm like, this is stupid. So I mean, I don't know. It has good parts to it. I think that the game could be very successful. I just think there are a lot of inconsistency in design choices, and it just really bothers me. It just, as Sir Coney has tweeted, how is it possible that Wonder Woman gets her cooldown removed and Velma's 2 minutes? Hey, I don't know. What? I just
1 minute.
I was ranting about this. I was ranting
Dude.
all day about it. I'm just how is it who? Never mind.
Can you explain it to me? I never played beta or pre-patch, or I guess I did very shortly, but I don't know what Velma's stuff did before.
So, Velma in the past was the best character in the game. I wouldn't say by a wide margin, but probably it was a situation where she wasn't the best in the game by a wide margin, but she was pretty easy to play. So, if you look at Evo top 8, she was in 4 of the 8 teams. She was not in the top 2 teams, but she was in all 4 of the bottom ones. Does that make sense? So she's occupying this space where she's easy to play and she fits into any comp. So she may not be the best choice for a comp, but she can go anywhere. And she's one of the best in the game and probably the best in the game overall, but not at any specific thing.
She was a support, right? And they kind of got rid of that too. That
Yes.
whole system's gone. I think that was weird.
Yes.
That.
So her down B is a book move, and the book move goes out and it hits your teammate. It gives you and your teammate CDR, and it can hit the opponent, but hitting the opponent is an afterthought. You really just put it out there for a big hit, a hitbox, but also giving you and your teammate CDR. But Velma, among a lot of other nerfs, got a cooldown on that move, which is now 1 minute and 50 seconds, which is way longer than anything else in the game. which means you get it once per stock.
It's like a
Now,
loft.
yeah, it's an
Literally.
alt. It's a Mumu alt in MultiVersus. I don't know who did that. I don't know why they put that, but it's only annoying because the other characters who are strong got to stay strong. So, I've been kind of annoyed because no other character feels like her. Like, she was busted. She needed a nerf, but I think they went overboard by a lot. And I've gotten DMs from people on the team that are like, "Don't worry, we're gonna fix it." And I'm like, dude, don't tell me. Like it's not a personal thing. It's just like I'm annoyed. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah. I do think there is something, especially in fighting games, maybe specifically platform fighters, where if you don't have a character you don't like, there's almost like a 0% chance I'm ever going to play a game if I don't have it. Like, if I need to kind of force it. Like,
Right.
to me,
yes,
because, like, MultiVersus, I'm having a pretty good time with it still. Like, I definitely have slowed down a lot, but I love my character, so, like, I'll log in and play. You know what has really saved MultiVersus for me is, and we've said this so many times, is the single player or, like, the incentive to log in every day, like the login bonus on top of like the battle pass, on top of like the daily quests and all that shit. It's stupid, but I like doing those, and it forces me to play for like 30 minutes a day. And it also usually forces you to play other characters. Like you have to play as like a Looney Tunes character or someone from Game of Thrones or whatever. So I'm like, oh shit, I have some fighter currency. I might as well try out some fighters that I wanted to try out anyway. But I'm not like in love with the game or anything, but I do love LeBron, obviously. So that's my guy. And that helps me want to play. I'm like, I want to log in and beat some ass with LeBron. There's only one. Well, I guess 2 game series. I could do it in 2K, I guess. But you could do it. That is the only 2 game series that I could do it in. I don't have 2K, so.
Yeah, I feel like it's I loved Velma, and there are other characters that are like kind of fun, but nobody hits the same. Like nobody scratch it. Like my best character is Banana Guard, and I think that's fucked up. Like that character shouldn't be anybody. If that character is your best character, then the game is broken. Like
that's also exactly Charles's thing, is that he played Velma and then she got nerfed, and now his best character is Banana Guard, and he just forward airs and side Bs, and that's it.
It's very good. It's very good.
Listening to Charles in the call while playing MultiVersus was,
dude,
I believe it.
I
believe it.
There was something. You would think the game's been out for 5 years. He was so so jaded. Like he was numb.
I genuinely think taking the game away for a year and then giving it back makes it feel like that. Because if it was a new game, everybody would be like, oh, it's fine, we'll learn the game, whatever. But now we're relearning a new game, but it's more frustrating because, like, one of the issues of the game, and Tweek, I don't know if you've played a game like this or Marcus will know what I'm talking about because I talked to him about this. MultiVersus has this unique problem where the worst player can determine the pace of the game. So, like, let's say I'm playing a platform fighter and I know that the guy is just jumping around there, jump around there, jump around there. It's like, all right, let me just stuff this, shield and punish, maybe up smash it if I can, like, outspace it, whatever. There are things you could do in other platform fighters. In MultiVersus, they don't have shield, so if the guy wants to side B, all I can do is just patiently just wait for him to do the side B and then try to punish, but that's not even, like... Sometimes I can't. Sometimes he does it, and I'm like, all right, man, you got it. Like, that's the thing about Banana Guard, is it's just such a long, meaty attack. It's like, and there's no shield, so you can parry it, but that's, like, the risk-reward is super skewed, so, I don't know.
I mean, Ultimate has hints of that all over the place, so...
I used to call Steve a MultiVersus character, because they came out around the same time.
Like, if Steve is just Diamond Bearing, what do you... He's determining the pace,
Yeah, I do a lot of like coaching for Ultimate too, and I like to call it like the counterplay to this. I just call it ignoring your opponent. You just like act like they aren't there, and like you obviously look for like the patterns, right? Like, do they do like a consecutive decision at the same timing? Do they do this diamond back air and then something else? Like, it's obviously difficult and probably shouldn't be that way, but especially if I'm in the lead, like I just let them flail. Like, they end up losing to themselves somehow. So like, it's not great, and it's obviously probably not the same. It's not going to be that simple in MultiVersus or whatever. But yeah, without shield and all that stuff, like that sounds tough. Like, it's like when the only thing you can come up with is looking at them and letting them do it, it's definitely concerning.
Dude, that's what I was when I was yapping. I was like, I feel like there are multiple characters in the game with Brawl, Meta Knight, Tornado, and I'm just waiting for them to let it rip. Like I hate it. Like I'm just like, well, I mean, I can't challenge this move, so please do it at some point, or you're not doing it. Like, and I'm just running to the edge of the stage. Like, here comes the old Grand Side B. Like, it's just
Yeah.
But I haven't. The thing is, to be fair, I haven't played anyone that's like really, really good at the game. It's just like there's no ranked currently, which is an issue in itself.
Yes.
So like I'm just playing like imagine playing not even Elite Smash. Like you're just logging on to Ultimate Wi-Fi, 1 million GSP, and just
You queue up and you're on pirate ship.
Yeah, it's
honestly the MultiVersus player base, and I say this, I hope your viewers don't think I'm an elitist or that I'm too like it's genuinely not coming from a place of me like thinking I'm better. This is the worst player base, like in terms of skill. I think in maybe any game I've played. Like and it's most of it is kids, I'm sure, like on a free platform fighter on the PlayStation, but like these guys are you're not learning anything. It's like fighting a level 6 CPU, and since there's no ranked, I'm fighting 1,000 level 6 Shaggies over and over and over. It's absurd.
Marcus, I heard you loud and clear. We can play after the podcast if you want. So
I'm down to lock in. Just know I'm locking in something like Wonder Woman. Just I don't even play Wonder Woman, but
God,
I just need to let you know, like
she's very fun.
She's a problem.
I'm sure she is. Like I mean, good characters tend to be very fun.
They're playing different game. There was a top 32 breakdown, and it was like every character in the top 32.
64.
Wonder Woman was 18.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well,
I think the next closest was like Joker at 6.
Yeah. So. Yeah, but that
it's my main for me, dude. I can't play the game now.
You were about to fire
off Giant. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna boot it up, but unfortunately, he's gone.
It is what it is, man.
Everyone was saying he was unplayable, and then the next day they're like, "Yeah, there's 5 infinites."
No, he's unplayable in doubles. He's like, that's the thing, is like in the real game mode or whatever, in doubles, like you can't, it's very hard to make him work. But in singles, he just kind of has a couple things he can just do over and over. And I think they were in the original. I'm pretty sure they were in the beta. And I think maybe they took out one and left in the others, but yeah, he's
Wait, he can SD off the top?
Oh, everybody can. Everybody can jump out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it's like
not
easy.
Smash,
Actually,
you need to get hit. Yeah, you do it by accident a lot.
Really? Everyone has Brawl Wario Waft basically.
That's very funny.
On jump.
Yeah, on jump. Oh man, what else is going on, yo?
Hey man, how'd your last round go, dude?
Jump.
I SD'd off the top.
Fun game,
what's
though.
going on, man? I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, I'm having a fun time with it. And again, like the single player, like kind of engagement quests type things are keeping me coming back for a little bit. So we'll see how that goes. But either way, Coney, like you said, it has been a year, man. What's been going on with you? You played Final Fantasy VII for the first time, so you're a different human, basically. A better human.
It's so good. I've been very vocal in my distaste for anime and tropes, and I think that kind of extends to JRPGs. But I've always wanted to play Final Fantasy VII, and historically, I've always stopped right after the first bombing, maybe the second one, like after the train. I'm like, I just kind of fall out of it. This time I full committed, and one of the best games ever made. Like there's no contest. It's a phenomenal game. So yeah, I've just been, playing some stuff. I want to play Final Fantasy VI next. Just doing some side stuff. It's fun.
Side stuff rules.
That was incredible to listen to.
It's so good, man. Final Fantasy VII is like, I did almost fall out at the part with Sid where you lose Cloud and he's like in the city, and he's in the wheelchair and that whole thing. So,
spoilers, bro. Like,
don't give a shit. The game came out in 1997.
We already did this. If you watch Summit, it already got spoiled for you anyway.
I'll make it worse. Don't do that. No, I'm not going to do that on your show. No, that's not. I'll do it on Summit show. I won't do it here.
Do it on your stream.
So, I don't know how to turn this into a major topic, But the last few streams I've done, also I started multi-streaming. Like I do YouTube and Twitch at the same time now, which has been pretty cool. But a lot of the time on the stream, I start talking about the next Smash, and I keep getting a lot of comments like, "Why are you talking about this now?"
Does he know
And-
something? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not that, but like something that's been confusing me is like maybe not everyone is as invested as me, right? But how are people not aware that this is the time to start theorizing and talking about the next Smash? Like, how many times do we have to go through the process for people to like be more prepared for it? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm saying. I'm not trying to sound mean, but like it's just so interesting how they think it's not the time to talk about it. They're like, "What's the point? Why are you talking about it now?" I'm like, "Bro, a new console is coming out. Like this game is super old. Like, do they really think they're just gonna uh not make a Smash game on a new console? Do they think it's just like I don't know. I think
It's
I think
pretty-
there's a lot of misunderstandings about Smash as a franchise within its fan base.
They do it pretty early too, I think. Like, I mean, it was pretty early on in the Switch life, if I'm not mistaken. Same with Wii U. So like, I think it's been soft confirmed that they're doing something early next year. So they're definitely going to do something.
Yeah.
What that is, I think, is a point of contention for a lot of people because, like, do they go the Mario Kart route and they just put
Yeah.
out the same game with updates? Is it a new thing? Who knows? Does it come out like holiday next year? Maybe it's a surprise drop in the middle of the year. Probably not, but you know,
Yeah.
a couple different things.
I
Man.
expect it like within. I think it'll be like a 2026 game somewhere like that, maybe.
Sure.
That's so far from now, bro. Like when I think about like 2 more years of Ultimate, like
It's
Ugh.
rough. It's rough. It's rough.
like yeah, like it's a tough bargain. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, how much time do we have?
I was gonna say I did when I was watching MomoCon, I was watching MomoCon and Combo Breaker, and no
Yeah.
disrespect to the players, but like my chat wanted Tekken bad.
Yeah.
Like every time I was on Smash,
Yeah.
and you know what it is for me, and it's not even like, and I've talked about this before, and I don't. It's hard to explain if you haven't seen them side by side. Best 3 out of 5 is exhausting. Like the whole tournament is just so many games. And after watching Tekken, which is best of 3 up until like top 8, it's like it's so fast. There's so much to it. So sorry, Haz, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good, man. I was gonna say, I think both games are just at such different places in their lifespan too. Like Tekken, basically
Just came
brand
out.
new,
Yeah, of course.
basically brand new game, and that's got to be one of the first big tournaments for it too, right? So, and it's all new, so it's like, oh, I've never seen this before. I think there's so much to be said. Well, that is something about Ultimate too. Like, it kind of sucks in a way that the meta is settling so much because we're seeing way more repeat like characters, lineups, like players kind of come through. Whereas at the beginning of a Smash game, it's like, dude, who the hell knows who's going to pop up and who's going to do well? Are the old players going to do well? Are there brand new players that we need to look out for? And I think all we can really go off of, and I think you were saying this too, Gavin, is what we've learned in the past. Because before, it's like, all right, we're going from Brawl to Smash 4. Some characters are going to come back, some aren't. Like, it's going to be crazy. Oh, wait, now there's DLC in the mix. Like, what's this next game going to come out to look like? And then Ultimate like broke everything by saying everyone's coming back. So now it's like, is that going to happen again? We don't.
Yeah.
Gavin's the big conspiracy theorist when it comes to new. He thinks about this more, I think, more than Sakurai himself.
It's concerning. I just personally get like I wish I wasn't so involved and bothered by this, but I hate seeing all the content being made about why the next Smash will be a reboot.
Mm-hmm.
I despise it because you cannot give me a singular reason why that would sell better than Ultimate. It's not possible. And they don't want that. There's no way they think a reboot would be better than having every character from Ultimate.
As a reboot enjoyer, I think you're right, but I think there's no way you beat it. Like I think Ultimate is just like to me, in my mind, I'm like, okay, where can Smash go from here? You literally can't keep scaling up, because then you're gonna run into the Pokemon problem where it's like, oh, we can't have 1,000 Pokemon in fully render, like,
Yeah.
yeah, and then you're gonna run into that. So you have to scale it back, and if you're gonna scale it back anyway, I think you just focus on the Nintendo characters only. That would be my guess. But I think at the end of the day, it's Nintendo, and you can't predict Nintendo. Like,
Yeah.
they're weird, so it's like, who knows what's gonna happen? It's like I don't think they know. I think they're gonna push something out at some point, but they also let stuff cook for a while, which is why me and Tweek were waiting for Pikmin 4 for a decade. So we'll see.
My thing with uh like some of my logic behind it is the next console is a Switch successor, so it's going to be familiar. It's going to be an improved Switch. So my logic is like one of their heavy hitters being Smash Ultimate. It's going to be an improved Smash Ultimate. Like
Sure.
the way to beat Smash Ultimate is to make Smash Ultimate Deluxe and maybe not even try to beat it at all and just try to add on to sales to the Switch hardware, to the Smash hardware, because I know for a fact that Nintendo cares very much about trying to make the Switch the number one best-selling console of all time because it's close. And they'll probably never admit that publicly, but I know that is something they care about. They would love to have that achievement under their belt, like after the fact, and like say it happened. Um, and I don't know, since it's going to be potentially part of like this whole Switch family of systems, I think a lot of games, I don't even know if they have to be rebranded at all, especially because backwards compatibility is probably going to be a thing. Like the next Smash might not even have a deluxe label on it. It might literally be the same game, but with like an extra fighter pass or
Sure.
something. Like they might not have to do any rebranding at all.
The thing I think about it is, I think something that's going to have major influence on how this next game comes out is how hands-on Sakurai is, and how not just much say he has, but how much influence he has on the game and how he's feeling. Because I know he's had in the past like these rock set rules of like, here's what can be in Smash and here's what can't, and then that obviously all went out the window when he started adding like Bayonetta and like Ryu to the game, which he said he would never do, where he'd add in characters like those. But then he did, and then it's like, are there any rules? Like, what are we working with here? Like, I don't understand. Like, where do things start? Where do they end? And I think so much of that comes down to Sakurai. And to Gavin's point, I think if he's involved, I think he's like a turbo tryhard overachiever type. And I don't think he's going to be like, all right, let's just run it back. Like, let's just do Ultimate again. Like I think he would see that as not super successful or super hype, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's just kind of the vibes that he puts out for me.
That's true. I not to be like to discredit Sakurai, but I think he always likes to put up the front of like, whew, we barely managed to get this character in the game, guys. Like, how did it pull it off? When obviously like no one would ever say no to like being in Smash. So I think sometimes he plays it off like how like, don't know how we managed to get Mario in the game, guys. Like, I don't know if we can do it again. Like,
well, I think it depends, because like apparently Square is like notoriously like super stingy.
yeah.
Especially
And
with
Disney.
like Cloud.
I think it
Like,
made
you
it.
could probably get Lightning for free. Like Titus, like you could have them, but Cloud, that's
I think it made it look worse because in Wii U, Cloud, it was just the stage, Cloud, and 2 songs.
right.
So I think it made it look worse than it actually was. When I think they were pretty long term with the remake and adding Sephiroth to Smash later on.
Sure.
Because it kind of like gave us everything else we would have expected when Cloud was added to the game. So I think there was a long-term plan there, and I think it made Square look stingier than they are, since they were in the middle of remake and like Sephiroth was getting added later in Ultimate. But yeah, I don't know. It can go so many ways, and I think the most important thing is what Coney said, where like Nintendo's so unpredictable that it is pretty naive to like theory craft a Nintendo thing with so many rigid rules that the fans are making up for no reason, because Nintendo doesn't play along like that. Like
Right.
a lot of the time it's something like that was never considered. But I'm just so against the reboot thing because like I said, there's no way you can market it as like, hey, this is better than Ultimate. You can't do it. Even if it's a big single player thing. I just think the fans are so involved that they don't realize who the game is for in the first place.
Sure.
Like if the game has less characters, it's gonna do worse in Ultimate, guaranteed. Especially if it's a reboot, because for that year leading up into the release or whatever, and they do trailers and stuff, what will the characters be? You're telling me the game is going to be the original 64 roster, but to hype up the internet for the game's release, they do a Master Chief trailer? It's like the roster is going to be so fucking weird.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're not really gonna get people back. Like, you don't get Cloud, but look, Mario has Cappy. Awesome. I guess so. I think that there's something to, like, maybe the gimmick is they dip deeper into the catalog of, like, Nintendo characters. So, like, all right, you're gonna
I
lose
would
Ridley.
love that. Yeah.
Yeah, like, you lose Ridley, but you get, like, Ravenbeak or whatever that guy's name was, and it's like, okay, well, maybe you don't lose Ridley because you wouldn't have to. But you get what I'm saying, where it's like, okay, we're gonna lose these third-party characters, we're gonna refocus on the Nintendo stuff. Here's, like, what's a franchise that has been wrapped in a long time? Funky Kong, whatever.
Yeah.
And they find a way to do that. I think there's value there. Would it sell better than Ultimate? No, because I don't think there's, like, there's not, like, cross genre handshaking going on. Nintendo games, like, despite having, they're pretty diverse in genre, like, a Nintendo game is a Nintendo game, and it's not the same as a Square JRPG or, like, a Platinum game or Atlas or whatever. So there's less crossover, but, like, I think it's a fool's errand trying to chase Ultimate at this point. Like, it's really lightning in a bottle. Like, you had the best selling system, one of the best of all time at that time. This just absolute culmination of a bunch of different things, but who knows, maybe.
And again, it came down to, we didn't know what to expect, and people expected characters to get cut, right?
Yeah.
Like, everyone was like, who's gone, who isn't? And they were like, surprise, no one's gone. You can't, could you surprise again? Like, does that work? Like, surprise, but everyone's here again. It's like, okay, yeah. Now that's the standard, right? Like, that's kind of what's happened. It's almost like, it sounds like between the two of you, it almost feels like they painted themselves into a corner in a way by doing such a good job with the initial game and the roster and the promises and all that shit. I don't know. What could they do to Ultimate to make it more interesting? Like, how? Like, where do you go from here? It's a good question.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Didn't they say that the Ultimate was supposed to be the last Smash game? So
They always say
They do that every time. They're trolling.
Maybe they actually, like, considered that it may be the last one, and they're like, we're just going all out. I doubt it, but
Sora cannot be the last Smash character ever. That cannot be allowed, bro.
Yeah,
not on my watch.
Wait, what? What's going on here?
Please no.
No,
What
relax.
do you mean?
No.
That's trash.
Part of me wonders genuinely, because how do I put this? I think, try not to talk out of school. I do think Nintendo was somewhat concerned over the emergence of so many plat fighters at one point, because there were a lot, and competition is a good thing, and it holds some people's feet to the fire. It's like, wait, there's this other thing coming out. Yeah. But now that they've all come out, like, Nickelodeon's had 2 games, and people are like, and then MultiVersus is back out, and it's doing, like, it's a good game, but it's not like a challenger. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not going to be Smash. And, like, Rivals
never had a challenger.
Right. Yeah, but I think there was a there could have been in like in people's minds, especially like maybe down the line. And I think Rivals 2, as good as it is, like, that game's phenomenal and is great. It is not going to make a dent. That's for enthusiasts. You know what I mean? It's very clearly
sorry. I was going to say, the main thing that they don't have that Smash does, and maybe MultiVersus will be the closest to getting there, but it's the mass appeal, right? Like, Smash has something, you already used the phrase lightning in a bottle once, but it's like, it did something so special from the onset, like with 64. And I think we talked about this before. We did talk about this like a few episodes ago, where it's like, dude, just make a good fucking game to start and then see what happens. And like, from 64 to Melee to Brawl, people naturally wanted to get better and prove that they were nice at the game because it fucking ruled, and that's about it. Like, it wasn't like, let's put wave dashing in this game because it's a good mechanic for people to play in tournaments or like whatever, right? It's just, in Smash, like, nothing else can organically come up that way like Smash did. Like, it's not possible at this point because Smash already did it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it was the original platform for it. Like, it was Smash was very unique at the time. Like, I remember when I used to see the commercial, and like, with the hammer and stuff. I was like, bro, what is this? And then, like, I watched the commercials and stuff, and I was like, bro, I gotta rent this because I didn't buy it. Like I was like, I gotta rent this, and I rented it, and I was like, this is like the best game ever. And I don't know why I never bought it. I just kept renting it over and over again, and like, dude, it was, I don't know, like it just obviously I changed my life, but it was just so different at the time because there were tons of like other fighters and stuff, but it's gonna be hard for something to be different if it's a platform fighter, you know.
I
I don't
also
think you can recreate that magic.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you
Multiversus
rented it.
is like
It's close.
kind of close.
Yeah.
Well, they're doing a lot of things that I wanted Ultimate to do, which is like a battle pass and like, you know, consistent updates and characters added all the time, like more live service than just like a flat game. But Nintendo's not about that, obviously, so you'll never get that from Smash, which is also fine because that's like their own thing. It's cool that MultiVersus and other platform fighters can kind of corner that part of being a video game in a different way compared to Smash, because Smash will most likely never do something like that.
I think a lot of people misunderstand the whole roster thing with the next game, because a lot of people are like, yeah, like they're just never going to be able to put like the same roster, or like this character will never be in another Smash. But in my eyes, it's like Nintendo is clearly thinking long term with like most of these decisions. Like they're definitely planned in advance, let alone the fact that like these companies have no reason not to want their characters in the game. So like I just don't see a reason why the next game wouldn't have the same roster. I just don't see why not. Cuz like sorry, but this license only lasted 5 minutes. Like we barely got it. Like I just don't believe that. I just don't think that's the case. I think they probably had plenty of other things for the future in mind at the time already.
I think the
Yeah.
only way that works is if it's a 1-to-1. If it's just a remake, though, because like
Yes.
if we're talking about a full like they can't remake every model, every move, everything. It has to be Ultimate Deluxe in the world that
Yeah.
you're talking about, which like is likely. I mean,
Yeah.
Mario Kart's been around for a decade, so
No,
But Ultimate
Yeah.
Deluxe could be like engine changes and other stuff too. It doesn't have
It
to be
could
like
be.
the same exact gameplay.
Uh,
It'll be a lot of the same, I think. But
I would
I don't know.
expect it to be mostly the same. Like
Really?
I mean, especially with like the whole backwards compatibility and all these games, like in the code, they're like gonna have 4K for some reason. Like so it's all clearly, you know, leading into the next console. And I don't know. It's hard to say because I know there's been a handful of games we've expected to take the Mario Kart 8 route and they haven't. So
That's true.
Smash doesn't have to do that, but it's just hard to even imagine something after Ultimate that isn't Ultimate. It's
right.
I don't think it's comprehensible at the moment.
And I wonder. I don't think that was the case with Smash 4. I don't think we were
No.
like, oh, what could come next? It was like, I
We
know what
blamed
could come.
anyone who thought it was a port.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Rightfully.
Yeah.
I think we all had a good vision of what could come next, and now it's just like, well, we're kind of in the end game. Like you could just make the same game, but with a fighter pass and like Master Chief, Crash Bandicoot. But like they've already kind of made it clear that like, okay, these are the superstars, and if you put in the rest, it's like like all right, Crash kind of works, I guess, but he's kind of
Yeah.
like a B-lister now.
Send the
They've
B
kinda-
team, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like at this point, it
Mm.
feels like they're being, and you could make an argument that like, okay, they're ushering in new stars, but then like Kratos, like who's the net, like you know what I mean, like Joel, like from The Last of Us. Who's like a
Dante.
Not
new
Joel.
video game third party? It's just,
Kratos would be lit. That'd be down.
guess,
But he's been around forever, is the thing.
That's the thing. If the game has less characters than Ultimate and like a big part of the marketing is third party reveals, it's gonna lose its own identity very quickly.
Mhm.
Like
And it got Steve. I mean, that is I don't think it hits quite as hard for any of us because you know, like we're old and stuff. But like
Steve's a
that
big
was that was an insane, like maybe the craziest reveal we've ever seen.
It's Sonic level, like, and people don't know that,
Oh, yeah.
but like it's this
Yeah.
generation Sonic. Like when we saw Sonic and Brawl, that was huge.
It's a good way to put it. Yeah.
so like that's just the thing. And unless there's some sort of strategy that's entirely different, right? Because for Ultimate, it's like once in a while we release a character, the whole internet's super excited for a while, whether it's like leading up into the base game's reveal or a DLC release. Like that was the strategy, and it worked very well. And maybe there's some other strategy, but I highly doubt it. Like, so I don't know. I would love it if they tried to keep the same strategy, but it was mostly first party reveals. But yeah, I don't know, because
Do you think that would go over
Like,
well with
ooh.
the population in general? Like,
I do actually.
I think-
really?
yes.
Because
I
I
would
think
hope
most
so. I think people who are overly like third party fans, like it feels like they're a fan of a different concept of Smash than I am.
Yes.
Like, or something like that. Like they're just late to the party or something.
I genuinely think if you let's go down the reboot route and they were like, all right, we're focusing on Nintendo and Louis got a trailer. I don't think Louis breaking the internet,
Yeah.
but I think it appeals to a certain, like, they clearly care a lot about Pikmin now, obviously. And it's like, oh, they're really focusing in on this stuff. I don't know who you would have for Mario. Mario's kind of oversaturated
Waluigi
now.
and Paper Mario
You
and
could- yeah,
Gino.
you,
Paper
you
Mario,
could do all that.
yeah.
It's
Those are
just
my
like,
most
there's-
wanted characters outside of like a Kong.
you're gonna get flamed
That's
if
what
you
I'm
put in more
saying.
Mario, because there's so many
There's
of
no
them.
way that many people would be upset with Paper Mario. It's very clearly
Oh, Paper
something
Mario would be
entirely different.
Yeah,
Paper
like,
Mario would be good. What I'm
Gino's
saying is
been
like,
asked for literally like
I-
15 years.
Yes.
Like,
Mario RPG is my favorite game ever, and I still think Paper Mario is low key a better addition than Gino.
I mean,
He'd be awesome.
I'd be annoyed if Gino made it even after a reboot or right there.
I don't know how he could possibly be a playable character, but I still want it. Like,
but no, I think that it's like, I think there's a world where they could hone in on that stuff.
Yeah.
Who knows if they, it's Nintendo. It's impossible to guess.
yeah,
They're weird.
bro, who are even new Nintendo character? Like, I'm so like
Bob,
out of
I
the
don't
loop.
they're really big on Animal Crossing, Splatoon, right now. Those are like big ones. That, and then obviously Mario, Zelda. But
I'm looking over at my thing, at my list of games. I mean, like, there's a world where it's just that if you need to cut Pokemon, because do we really need Lucario and Mewtwo? You put in the new starter, right?
We're cutting
Maybe
people
not
again?
Lucario, but Mewtwo. yes.
Masquerada, come back to this podcast in a few years when Masquerada's in Smash.
Yeah.
Send baby Rosalina.
No, please.
Shy,
We don't have to go that far down
Shy
the,
Guy, hold
the
on.
wholesome
Rose Gold.
Nintendo route.
Shy Guy's actually hype.
What
But
do
I
you
don't know.
even do?
I think like us, we all generally kind of agree that there are some Mario characters that would be cool. But I just think of like the way they've set themselves up and how the internet would react. Like Shades of Piranha Plant, almost, even though they obviously knew that would be a joke, but almost where people, or even like a repeat Fire Emblem character, which that is
I would
God,
hope
that was
not.
awful.
I'd be so disappointed if the fans were like not happy with like Paper Mario, Waluigi,
Kamek.
Sure.
like I would be just like, I'm just not we're not a fan of the same things, basically.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, maybe they became a fan during the hype of Ultimate reveals where it could be like anything. But back in my day,
Uh-oh.
in my day.
Uh-oh. That's how you know. You crossed over. It's over, ma. The last Mario character added was Plant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Before that was what, Rosalina, I guess.
Yeah.
I think so.
I just don't like that it's viewed as like, hey, you're adding more of the same, and it's just not. It's not. Like,
I'm just surprised DK hasn't gotten a new rep since Brawl. Oh, well, I guess they got a new
K-Roll.
Kong, I should say. Aside from K-Roll, right? I was thinking Kongs.
He hasn't had
K-Roll,
a game in a while, bro. Like,
That's a
Donkey
good
Kong
point.
Country hasn't had a game in 10 years.
oh, my heart.
That just means that they're going to announce
Hasn't had a
Funky.
Switch game. No Switch game. Just Tropical Freeze ported over from the Wii U.
That's
Wait,
sad.
I'm glad we're talking about this. So,
Oh, no.
Not
He's
the
gone.
tinfoil hat.
Put the
It's
single
over.
put the single screen on him, Chris. Hit him with
Yeah.
the single screen. There we go.
the theme park, the Donkey Kong expansion to the Nintendo World, it was just the
Uh-huh.
Mario area, and the second one's DK. And I'm extremely happy about it, but I'm like, I don't get it. I know he had a big role in the movie, but is that really big enough to be like, hey, you're gonna skip the line over like adding a Zelda or Animal Crossing or
Right.
like why is it DK? Like,
It's the Seth Rogen effect, bro.
do they have something like in the making for DK, or are they just relegating him to the sidekick role and they don't mind it? Like, I don't understand. Like, it's really confusing to me as a big fan of the games. Like, he's like entirely something different. Like, bro, these kids in Japan going to the Donkey Kong Country area of Nintendo World, they're like, a game hasn't come out in their lifetime.
Yeah.
I think he's just the most recognizable to casuals who are like the parents spending the money.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But like,
this is slowly turning into Jenny Nicholson content, which is great.
what is that?
I mean, hey, I love that Star
Go.
Wars movie. That was a good movie.
Exactly. Good movie. All right.
So
Anyway.
I don't understand. Like, maybe he's just a different role than he was when I was a kid. Because when I was a kid, he was like kind of like that, but he still had games.
Yes.
Like, so I'm just confused. Maybe something went wrong internally. Maybe there was supposed to be a Switch game by now, but he hasn't had a game in 10 years.
I mean, how do you do something with him that's different than Odyssey? Because like he was like a platforming thing, and then he had that weird like, what's his identity? And Nintendo seems very stuck on like, okay, this is our platforming series, this is our cozy life series, this is our adventure series. So like Donkey Kong is like, all right, what do you do?
That's a good point.
Run and jump and collect things. He does that. You can't do.
I'm tired.
Yeah, exactly. You can't have a bunch of mini games because the other guy does that. It's like they have its own thing, and I don't know what Donkey Kong's like thing is because they don't want to have like 3 platformers.
Well, I think because I think he's also had trouble with like the companies working on the games, right? Because it was retro. It used to be rare. So not only is the character's identity having a problem, I think the studios working on the game don't know what, because there's a big difference between the original trilogy and then the duology of Freeze and Returns.
Yes,
they're very different, despite all being like solid games. Like the Kremlings are a part of that trilogy, but they're nowhere to be seen in the last like couple decades.
Defeated them. That's why they're gone. He kicked them out.
So it's just
the thing I'll say about Donkey Kong is right now, like to the casual or like to the wider audience that doesn't really pay attention, I think Coney had a really good point where it's about like what the parents will spend their money on. Because as far as everyone knows right now, outside of like people who are super paying attention, like us in the circle, Donkey Kong's in a good spot, right? Like right now, if they come out with a new game, they need to gamble and like, oh, the new Donkey Kong game like sucks or whatever and it doesn't do well. Right now they can make money off of the success that they've had in the past and just on an IP that everyone really loves and really likes because it's a cute character, a good world, all that stuff. The other thing I think of is like a lot goes into designing a theme park, into making it something like fun or interesting or engaging or something people want to go to, including having to create assets for it. And like it, to me, it seems like a layup to have to make like a water ride for Donkey Kong, or like there's animals involved. Like there's a lot that goes into which IP do we go with? Like it's recognizable real animals versus like whatever the fuck's going on in Zelda, like mechanical spiders and shit aren't really like, you know.
Yeah. That's a good point. There's like a roller coaster that they like have technology where it's an illusion where it looks like it's like skipping like in the minecart levels where it looks like you're going in midair and stuff like so it's clear that they worked with something that was like made a lot of sense. But yeah, I guess he's just, hey, that's the guy from the movie, like
Seth Rogen.
Yeah,
my 8-year-old's like gonna be a fan of that or something like that. Like
my kid loves him. My kid loves Donkey Kong.
That's crazy.
He's right behind you. That's why.
Yep.
A game hasn't come out in her lifetime.
She doesn't play the game. She watches me play the games.
The games don't exist.
That's all she cares about. She watches me play Mario 64 and pops off. She knows that's Mario. She pops off. She's it's different, man. It's weird.
A lot that goes into it aside from having new games for sure. It's like Disneyland, you know what I mean?
I'm just hoping that there's something they want to at least capitalize a little bit off of. Maybe there's not, though.
Oh, hell yeah. There they go. I was watching dude, this is a very small, this is a tangent, but I went to Ludwig's speedrun event last weekend, and he was like, do you speedrun any games? I was like, well, I have a okay 16 star. He's like, do you want to try any games? I'm like, all right, you know what? Let me learn Donkey Kong Country, because I heard it was pretty easy.
Nice.
It's not. Dude, running that game is not easy, because I tried it for 2 hours. I was like, this sucks. I
Yeah.
am not speedrun brained. I don't have it in me to like
Yeah.
one for the execution of it, and two to just like break down a game that I love like that. Like to treat it like
You're gonna view
I
it
don't
differently, yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna view it differently. And Donkey Kong Country, I play like once a year, very casually, just being like to soak it in. And it's my
Yeah.
favorite. Like I love one the most.
Yeah.
It's like there's something special about it. And like I don't know, this has nothing to do with anything. It's just Donkey Kong Country. I saw the gameplay and I was like, oh, I try to learn that. It's the speed running is not fun.
I didn't think I was speedrun brain either until I really gave the remake of Super Mario RPG a chance. And it was a lot of fun, but like you need to dedicate a lot of your life to keeping up with
Yes,
that. I just don't have the time, sadly, because other hobbies came up, other interests, and like
right.
yeah,
Other games come out too.
it
Like
doing one run of that would take me a few hours. So like I love that game, and I'm like Coney said, like it's kind of a risky thing to do that with something you love, to break it down like that. It might like open up doors you didn't expect, but I mean I still loved it. I learned a lot about it, like more than I ever thought I would, but
yeah,
I don't know if I can do that regularly. Like
Yeah, because I think, have you tried to speedrun a game, Marcus? I assume you have, just because I think all of it. You never have. I have for a couple of games that I love in a similar way, and it kind of like takes the art out of it. Like if you play it casually
yes.
once a year, you kind of forget a bunch of the shit. Like,
yeah,
if I
Oh, you
jump
come
here,
back
like,
to
will I make
something.
it?
Oh,
Yeah,
Poison Pond. Like I hate that level, and it's like,
yeah.
yep.
Not Poison Pond. I need to take 4 steps right, and then speed, then roll, then jump, and now I land here. It's just like it
And
kind
then,
of
like, if you know all the skips, you're like, I could beat this level normally, but I could do that. It's like you kind of
yeah.
you break
yeah,
you kind of go break that you go behind the curtain a little bit, and it's like
yeah.
I don't have to
Exactly.
play this level if I don't want to. It's like I don't know, you lose a piece of that.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree.
That's a really good
100%.
point. I've never really talked about that before. That's interesting.
That's why Mario 64 I think is the GOAT speedrun game though, because like you can it, the game pushes back. It's hard to explain. It's not as like it's not quite as binary as a game like Donkey Kong Country, where it's like, okay, you can learn these tricks and these things to get through the end. Mario 64 has the third dimension, and I guess it's like that for other games that I haven't tried to speedrun, but it's like, okay, you can speed this, but you can just play it normally. Like, I have no problem doing it casually at the same time, like a
Yeah.
casual 120 run, because, like, I don't need to go for canonless, and that's different to me than, like, Donkey Kong Country, where it's like, oh, if I jump off this guy, it gets me to the end of the level, as opposed to like, do I get in the cannon and blow this up for you know what I mean? It feels different. Maybe I'm making a false equivalency, but I don't know. It's Mario 64
It's
is
just a different scale is what it sounds like to me. Like
sort of yeah.
it just goes farther.
And
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
the one I did was Mega Man X, and that was 100% the same thing. Where I was like, I stopped doing it because A, it's really hard, like it's a really tight platformer,
Sure.
and then B, it was that, and then combined with like that's one of my all time favorite games. I love that game so fucking much. It's
Game's
like
ass.
perfect. It's so good. That's right, Coney. Thank you.
I hate
So what
Mega
I did, I started learning Mega Man X2 for the speedrun instead, so it didn't, because I didn't really have that emotional attachment to it, but it was the same engine, so I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, but then I didn't care because it wasn't X1. You see what I'm saying? Like, so I ran into the opposite problem too, where I was like, this is great, this is so cool. I'm like, no, it's not X1. Like, so I stopped trying to speedrun it after a while, but it was fun. I think everyone should try to learn to speedrun at some point. I think it's a really interesting trial. No, Marcus is out.
Nah.
Oh, there he is. He's
It's
got to shore you. He doesn't have full health. He can't shore you.
I tried to play this game. The first time I tried to play this game, at one point they're like, "Hey, you got to find all these upgrades," and I'm like, "Okay." And I think that's just optional because I knew about the Hadoken. And then I got to Sigma with one upgrade, and he killed me in 2 hits. And I'm like, "Oh." And then I look it up, and they're like, "Yeah, you got to redo the levels." I'm like, "Fuck this game. I don't want to play that anymore."
For sure, if I didn't play as a kid, that's such a frustrating experience. Like, there's no way. Like,
hated it.
I know the stage order. I know all that's where to get all the secret shit. So, like, it's a really fun time because I beat it in, like, 50 minutes now, which is awesome. But, like, if I had to that is what I don't play X3 because I have no idea. Like, I have no idea what's in there. And it's not fun to get your ass like that. It's not fun.
Yeah.
But they wanted you to be renting the games like Marcus did with 64 over and over. So they made them inflated, false, whatever difficulty of each game.
I guess to sum up the Smash thing, like once in a while I just get like super bummed out Like I just missed like the reactions and the trailers and like
The
the
magic
internet.
of it.
Yeah, like I don't know if I'm spoiled, but I'm just like, hey, one more round, please.
There is something really cool about do you remember that first Genesis after Cloud dropped? I remember walking into the room, this
Yeah,
is Smash 4, the Genesis after Cloud drops, and I'm seeing Komo Rikiri pop a limit cross slash. And I was like, oh, this character's a problem.
yeah,
Cause like and that feeling
Yeah.
of like, oh, there's something new to contend with was distinct.
Yeah.
I think we were a little fatigued because in Ultimate it was like the new characters by that point had become standard and they were all good and the banjo or plant, but it's like these other characters like, okay, Kazuya's coming, is he good? Yes. Oh, Pyramithra's coming, are they good? Yes. Oh, and it's like, oh, they're always good, and like how good are they was always a question, but like it got figured out like within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I think that there's like, I don't know, there was that period of time was very special. I don't know what the next one looks like, and I don't think you can manufacture it, but it'll there'll be something down the line.
Yeah. I just get this doomer feeling in my gut. Like, is it over? Like,
2 years was
Hey,
crazy.
smile because it happened. You were there for
I,
it.
Yeah.
I think that's a part of the magic, though, is we don't get updates all the time. We don't get all this shit all the time. You know, it'd be like if Christmas was every day. It'd be like after a while, it's like, all right, these cookies suck, man. I'm out. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. Done with these presents. Like, we're broke. You got to take a break at some point. And a part of it is too is again they just try to make a good game. Like they don't make this game catered towards us, the competitive scene.
Right.
They obviously care a little bit.
That's why I love it, though. At the end
Yes.
of the day,
Yeah.
I like the casual side more. Like that's what I want.
Me
Like,
too. Yeah.
So
It is very fun. Dude, people do like World of Light, like what's it called? What's the Pokemon thing where if your Pokemon faints, you don't get
Nuzlocke.
Nuzlocke, thank you. Yeah, they do like I don't know. I want to see more of that crap. Like I think that's I still, and I say this a lot on the podcast, but I play a lot of single player Smash content on flights and shit. Like when I go places, like I beat World of Light twice. I'm not ashamed of it, maybe a little, but like it is what it is.
I never beat.
Never even opened
Never
it.
ever really.
Well, I have an assignment for you over the next 2 years until the next Smash game comes out.
Goodness gracious.
I'm not doing it. B and I tried, and we gave it an honest shot.
I can't believe y'all
Tried.
don't like it. I thought it was
Okay,
cute. I thought it was creative, bro. I really did.
World of
He
Light.
tried to include everyone. He tried to include everyone and did the best that he could. They did. I should say he.
I thought it was a cool idea.
Agreed.
B said we beat it.
We beat on stream. Like,
You have to beat it to change the,
That's hilarious.
you have to beat it to change the menu theme.
Yeah. Also,
So-
but it's only to the other menu themes, which is kind of an L. But it's better.
She
than
said we
only
beat it
having one.
on stream, so I guess I'm lying.
There's literal video evidence of this happening.
All right. It's out there somewhere.
But yeah, I don't know if I'm spoiled or what, but it's just like I just want like the last couple years, once in a while, I just get really sad. Like I just
Yeah.
which it's weird because like considering the timing, like I just won a super major a couple weeks ago, and I just don't care at
Yeah.
all. I just want a Paper Mario trailer. Like
Yeah. Well,
like,
I think there's a lot that goes into that too, because it's not just the game being in the state that it's in. It's like the community and like the tournaments and like the current meta. Like there's a lot that folds into that. And I think, I mean, that is, I know we're kind of nearing the end of time here, but I do think it's a really important question, especially since we have Coney on, who's been around for a long time since, Brawl and Melee and all that good stuff. What happens at this point? Like what is your suggestion, or what do you think people should look forward to, or where do we go from here?
It's different every time. Like every time because the gap from Brawl to Smash 4 was plugged by PM. So like the community got a blessing in that, like, hey, here's this other thing to focus on, and we did. And like both Melee and Brawl came together for that. So it didn't feel that big. And the gap between Melee and Brawl didn't really matter because it wasn't like you knew it was coming, but you didn't need it. I think there's this sense of with careers and with people's sort of having so much invested, now you need it. You know what I mean? And I think there's a fear in that. But you know, the weight between Smash 4 and Ultimate was so low comparatively, which is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
It was still
it's weird to
brutal.
think about.
It was weird.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird to think about. And then it's also like, you know, Ultimate, we lost what, 1.5 years to the pandemic, which is like, I wonder if that made it better or worse. Because it was
Yeah.
cool to come back,
Yeah.
but like maybe it would have been staler if we had tournaments that whole time. I don't know.
Dude,
maybe,
yeah.
maybe not.
That's scary to think
That's a
about.
good point.
Right. And we don't have a plug game. Because
Yeah, we do.
you know, all these games keep coming out.
We're about to
and
play.
They're not scratching the same. I mean, Rivals 2, right? Like that's gonna be
Yep.
great, but like, do you see like Cody, Zain, you know, Leo, Meister? Like they're not all gonna enter that. It's not gonna bring people together. It's not
Playing
gonna be a Smash-
Ultimate for them is like playing a little Mario Party on the side or something. Like,
right. Yes.
It's more like a content or like a joke. Like,
So I don't know. It's hard to say.
Y'all
Yeah.
sleeping on that Zain Roy. That joint is cooking.
Oh,
I was
I
gonna
watched
say.
that.
Bro, that was a funny stream. That was funny. I've said this too, is I don't think I've tuned into a Zayn stream for a while, back when he was like really on the grind in Melee, like trying to become #1 and just like maybe no cam, but like just silence and just Melee gameplay, and that was it. Like just loading the next
Yeah.
game of Melee over and over and over. And I was like, I'm not watching this. But he's funny, dude. He's funny. I was enjoying his content.
He's a funny guy.
He
Yeah.
is, yeah. I'm glad he like came out. Maybe I just started watching.
That's
him
the
more or
Gavin.
something, but
Yeah.
but that is the Gavin.
What?
Not anymore though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Maybe chatting, yeah. True. Actually true. But yeah, he came out of his shell more and stuff, so I really enjoyed watching him. He's very funny. So check out Zayn is currently doing, which the concept is funny as well. He's doing a backward H-Box. His H-Box said he's going to quit Ultimate and play Melee for 90 days straight. So Zayn's like,
Detox.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
detox, and Zayn said I'm gonna poison myself and play Ultimate for 90 days only. Which is
Smart.
really funny. Yep. He did a whole vote thing for which character he's going to play, and then Donkey Kong won, and he opened it back up for 5 minutes, and then people voted for Roy. So he's playing Roy. I was like, I'd be pissed if I was a Donkey Kong voter. Like, what the hell?
Honestly,
But, yeah.
it's smart for him too, because he gets to like now, you know, Melee might have felt a little stale for a while, and maybe he starts losing or he doesn't do as well, and people can be like, oh, he should have focused on Melee. Like, I think both games are in a pretty not dire spot. I mean, it's just kind of, I don't know, what's left.
Yeah.
And I think both games are kind of feeling the pain. So maybe they bounce off each other more. I don't know if that's something that happens. Who knows?
Even if not, like when Ultimate first came out, a bunch of Melee people played initially, which was a huge bump in all of our numbers, which is
Right.
great. And then obviously they got all the benefits of bigger streamer numbers and all that stuff too.
Yeah.
So I definitely think there's something there 100%. You already seen it. Zayn's at like a consistent 3,000 to 4,000 viewers when I was watching yesterday. So
Damn, really?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Holy.
There's something there for sure. People, it's just like you said, Coney. I think it's such an important thing that people who get to that level of being so godlike at Smash are inherently interesting people, just because, like, just from that alone.
Sure.
And then they're interesting people anyway. Like you just most of the time are like you're just an interesting person because of that, and also everything else that goes into you being a person.
Yeah.
So it's like seeing, and that's, dude, that was such a, obviously you guys were there even more than me and Gavin, but the beautiful thing about PM was like, dude, Brawl, like we could duke it out now, you know, like they were never going to play Brawl and we were never going to play Melee, but damn, we will all play this game, which was, I just don't think anything that's ever going to, beginning Ultimate had that similar vibe though. It did. It really did. That was really, really fun.
Almost. It wasn't quite like PM, but it was good enough for sure. Like
it was
definitely.
up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Second
It was
best.
a very special time for sure.
Yeah.
It was, and it lasted
Just one more
a
time.
very long time.
Please.
And I guess 3.02 was that like a year? It might have been like a year.
I mean, you know what's weird to think about? I came around in like my PM career was mad short.
Yep.
And it was like maybe June of 2014 to November of 2014. Because I was like, I'm gonna win a PM tournament, and then I won 2, and I was like, I'm done. The second one was that Halloween tournament. So it was like
the reindeer costume.
Yes, that was the big one. It was like that was my PM sort of time was like 6 months, and it's like, but it felt way longer. You know what I mean? Like to me, And I think to PM, like PM felt longer to all of us, even though it was really maybe 2 years. But it felt different, and I think that novelty really speaks to people. You know, we'll get something at some point. Who knows what it'll be though?
And I also think it's like
Please.
you get to see your biggest, the person you're the biggest fan of play against somebody else's the person they're the biggest fan
Yes.
of, you know, like, and that doesn't
Ooh.
really get to happen often because in a singular game, there's only going to be but so many fans for the game,
Right.
you know, but since there are like multiple games, you could just see like so many different fans like supporting the game. And it was just really interesting, especially because people boring, bro. Like people were like, I don't know, like a lot of, or like they're not even boring. They just don't like show themselves as not being boring. Like,
Right.
it, like Light could stream and he would go crazy, but he just doesn't. But he
Some of
also
it is
having
also
a
like
house issue, but
some of it is also the novelty. So like we're talking about, you know, Zain doing really well on a stream, but part of that is just like the day one, like, wow, this is like HBox got a lot of viewers, I think, for it was a Smash 4 coin box, I think.
Yep.
And it got like a crazy amount of viewers or something. And it's like, yeah, that'll happen once. It's like you can't
That's a good
I think if
point.
Zain kept streaming Ultimate, he's not gonna hit 4K. It
Of
feels
course
like
not.
an event. And you need that level of novelty. It's just you can't keep chasing that. Because it's not sustainable.
Yep.
Which sucks.
Can't just be the novelty guy. You know?
Yeah. Well, I guess that about wraps it up. Thank you so
Suppose
much. What's up?
I was saying, I
He said-
suppose so. Hey, thanks for having me on, fellas. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
of course.
Thanks for
Anytime.
coming on for the Patreon content that we're going to be recording very shortly
Yeah.
after.
Oh yeah.
Our
How
top
long is
5
that?
favorite players to watch.
Oh, true. Okay.
Long enough that people want to subscribe is how long it is.
All right.
Thanks,
let's get
everyone.
it.
Thank you so much, y'all. Have a good one.
See you.